Everyone, and welcome to PAEA's second May webinar, Practical at Home Activities for Parents and Teachers of Students with Special Needs. Tonight, we will hear from Jan Riggio, who is our PAEA Region 4 co-rep and an art educator in the Bald Eagle Area School District. Registered participants will receive a Google Form link via email in a day or two to fill out for their 1 hour of Act 48 credit. This webinar will be recorded and available at a later date on the PAEA website. Before we begin the webinar, we are asking participants to mute their microphones and keep their video off during the presentation. Those controls are located in the bottom left corner of the controls bar. We are also asking everyone to sign in on the chat roll. Please use the same name in which you registered for this event. The chat roll can be found along the bottom in the controls bar as well. Signing in will ensure that you receive the Act 48 link. You may also use the chat roll for questions. There will be a Q&A period after the presentation if you would like to hold your question until then. Let's get this webinar rolling. Jan, take it away.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I think that Jill already told you the school district that I am in. I'm currently teaching fifth kindergarten through fifth grade, and my school district's in the center, right in the center of Pennsylvania. It's a lovely district. It is characterized by isolation. It's about 20 to 30 minutes drive from one elementary school to the next, depending on where you are, and we are a Title I school. The Title I school with about almost 40% qualifying for free and reduced lunches. Our special ed services are administered to about 15% of our student population, and this is why I wanted to do this webinar so much, because I wanted to learn as much as possible to service the little students as well as I can. So I hope in the next hour that I'm going to provide some practical information that you can share with parents. You can use it in your classroom, and you can share it with parents during the stay-at-home time. It's information that I have gathered through professional developments and different things as my journey as being an art teacher for 29 years. If you're an art teacher, not only can you inform parents about the home strategy, but use this information when you get back and communicate with those who are involved. Whether your students are experiencing learning differences or they're on the spectrum, have auditory or visual challenges, we want to create the learning environment that produces the best version of themselves. So prepare to have a little fun. And I didn't want to make it, I wanted to make it kind of fun. And at the end of the performance, we'll have some question and answers. I'm going to attempt to hit the high points on these, the presentation. I'll attempt not to read to you. So let's see how this goes. All right, I'm going to share audio. Yeah, share. All right. And let's see there. Okay, here we go. Hopefully I can get rid of this. Let me get rid of this. Okay, now present. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so this is the name of our webinar for tonight. Statistically in Pennsylvania, 12% of children in school have individual education plans, and 100% of those students are at home right now. That is what an individual education plan looks like. It's very small, but I'm sure that you have seen that type of thing. You can see that it's not a sole document. There are people that have input. What is the individual education plan? It's like a roadmap, and it establishes where your child is at the time and the steps of how you're going to get them to be successful. It's designed by a team of teachers, interventionists, guidance counselors, and IEPs are really usually reviewed at least every 3 years, maximum amount of time. So there's a lot here. It determines the type of support and services, where, what kind, how much, how often. Special ed and related services will be provided. For example, An individual speech therapy, 30 minutes, 3 times a week. Special transportation. So if little Jimmy needs a lift for a wheelchair to get into the school, that's there. Actually, that was a situation in my school. We had a child who there was a lift provided for him. Dates and services of when they will begin, methods of evaluation, and there are tools where to decide if the student's meeting his annual goals. How much of any time either the child will spend in the general classroom. This is all done as in a collaborative effort. The adjustment to general ed education setting. This could include untimed tests, and this would be for somebody with a learning disability. That would be, actually my own son had that modification, or having someone help with the class notes. The adjustment needed for the child to participate in statewide and district tests. If the child's not able, then there's another assessment that will demonstrate those skills. Supports that school personnel may need to implement, such as training and equipment. We had a sight impaired child, for instance, that had a very large computer screen, Blackline Masters, and a paraprofessional that assisted him so that he was able to reach his goals for art class. Next slide, 6. Okay, so what's the government saying? Right now, we have a national emergency, and schools cannot provide in the same manner that they are typically provided. So the schools, they're choosing safety for the children, and that is more important right now. The website below will give you more information. It's because it is unfeasible and unsafe for some institutions during this school closure to provide hands-on physical therapy, occupation, or tactile sign language. Many disability-related modifications and services may be effectively provided online. And there have been some of my peers that have been doing Zoom therapies. So we're learning all kinds of modifications. All hands on deck. Have realistic expectations for both parents and grandparents and teachers. Stay positive and be patient. These efforts are not as effective as in person. They can mitigate academic and social impact on the long-term school closures. And this is such a vulnerable population. Okay, let's see. Oh, I could be doing this. Mother's concern. This is something, there is a link on the bottom. And if you would like to go to that at some point when you have the copy of this, this talk, you can see the whole story. But there's a lot of frustration for both the parents and for the children. As art teachers, our concerns are, what's the content? How are we going to interact? What materials do these kids have at home? How are we going to assess them? What are those modifications? Oh, wait, I better look at that IEP again. During the stay-at-home order, our life is like a Venn diagram. Our teacher is delivering instruction. The students are at home, adjusting to new routines and areas in which they're working, and school administers directives that both teacher and parents must follow. So lessons, so here's a more drawn out version of all 3 of those. It's your head spins, there's so many things. And as you're going to see on the next slide, the areas between the circles represent the interactions we have as we design our new normal. I like to think of those blended areas as communication. So the teacher is communicating with the administration, and the administration is communicating with the parents, and the parents are communicating with you. So it is a full circle. Here are some of the scenarios of what we just talked about in that Venn diagram. Okay, we have a traditional up in the right teacher that wishes she probably was in that room right now. Okay, I'm going to try to move. Oh, it's not gonna move. Okay, easy strategies to apply at home or in art class. So I was pondering this the other day. So we're familiar with the jargon, the lingo with the IEPs. We know what they suggest. So how do you transfer that to what you do at home? So let's look at that. You have, if your IEP says easy access to art materials, have an ergonomic chair. We have children that are physically needy of something other than a hard school chair. So what can you do at home? Give them a comfortable chair, organize an organized table. All right, so in the IEP might say a light box or some way to give the child confidence, black line masters, something like that. If you don't have a light box, then you can tell your parent to put something in a window, illuminate it like a light box, and draw with a piece of paper taped to the window while they're at home, and give them step by step. What I like about these modifications is that the parent and the grandparent are invested and they're there. And I think that this is one thing on a side note that we're going to see coming out of this, that these children are confident that and secure and well fed and sleeping well. So I like the idea that there's a parent that's going to be facilitating this at home to keep them at a level. Cool lighting, cozy shades over bright lights. Okay, so the natural light and cool colored curtains. No, we cannot go out to Amazon and buy the cozy shades, which are beautiful blue with magnets, and they clip onto the fluorescent lights, and they are very calming. But you can give the child some natural lighting and make this environment for them a successful, beautiful, calm place. Eliminate busy visual stimulation, create a focus corner. So I keep stressing the idea of the routine of going to a place, just so that they know that what they're doing is like it's regular, like it is in school. Provide a work area, quiet and uncluttered. Complicated projects can be broken into two or three steps, first, then, next, final. And that is something that you might see on an IEP, or one of your interventionists might perhaps say something. You will see in this presentation how a teacher can create visual directions and those charts to make a more independent child. Okay, this is where I will entertain you.
G'day and welcome to this instructional video on how to homeschool kids in lockdown. Yeah. The Google Dad, an adjective, well, that is very clear, you know, an adjective is, what's that? Look on... Yeah. That fitness freak dad. Okay, counting back from 1,000, you ready? 1,000, 999, 998, 997. That brainy dad. Come on, this is basic maths, I know you know this. Value of pi, 3.141592, yada, yada, yada. Pythagoras theorem, anything? The chores dad. Right, so how many toilet brushes does the toilet have? 1. Exactly. How many minutes will it take you to clean it? There you go. Go find out. Have fun with that. The just here for lunch dad. Right. Here's your stuff. School started. Right, lunchtime. Cool? And I take away...
Oh my God.
1.
2.
The PE only dad. Right, you ready? You got to try tackle me, okay? You ready? Try. PE. All day. The life lessons, Dad, maths time. Right, so in our pot of gold, we've got $300, right? But Mummy wants to buy a $300 dress. Okay, so if we took the $300 out of our pot of gold to buy Mummy's dress, how much would we have left? Zero, exactly. And you go tell Mummy that buying the dress is a silly idea, all right? Good luck. She'll be right, Dad. Right, you just watch the CSI reruns, and you got to try and figure out who did it. She'll be right. Yes! Good. Ask your mum, Dad. I'll just ask your mum. Yeah, I'll just get your mum. I'll just get you. Hey, babe, 435, 434, 433. That was how to homeschool kids in lockdown, and no kids were harmed in the making of this video. Who wants second lunches?
Okay, so I wanted you to see that because that is a non-example. This is a beautiful example. I hope these are the only two videos that I want to show you, but they are just, this one is so touching, and it's...
Being a parent is, of course, never a cakewalk, but parenting during a pandemic, that's an entirely new set of challenges. So many of us are having to entertain and educate our children while still trying to do our jobs at the same time. It's all one big balancing act, but the burden is especially unique for parents of children with special needs. And as Devin Dwyer reports, theirs is an inspiring story of resilience on the front lines right at home.
From outside the front door, a glimpse of life around the kitchen table in a pandemic.
Danny is medically fragile, so the virus itself would be pretty devastating to him. Parents Megan Scully and Chris DeBott of Washington, D.C. are now full-time caregivers for their 4-year-old son, Danny, who has a rare brain disorder, putting him at increased risk of COVID-19.
One of the fights for us is keeping the front line for us here at home instead of possibly having to go to the hospital.
As we talk outside, Danny's 2-year-old brother Elliot keeps that distance. His older brother Sam tells us he's worried.
Are you afraid of the disease?
A little, because what if Danny catches it? Or what if I catch it? If I catch it, I would probably have to stay in my room all day, maybe for 2 weeks. And I wouldn't get to see him at all for that long. And also, if I came out of my room and went into his room and I snuggled with him, he could catch COVID-19 and he could be diagnosed and could die.
It's a sobering reality affecting so many families. Rob Gorski of Ohio tells us he's overwhelmed.
I'm a dad to 3 autistic kids, and my oldest is medically fragile, so one of the things that he has right now is compromised immune system.
20-year-old son Gavin Gorski in the middle shows us his pump for gene infusions to boost his immunity.
It's pretty stressful, worrying about trying to keep him healthy and safe by not exposing him to anything, really.
The Gorskis haven't left their Ohio home in 3 weeks, testing their patience with each other and communication skills. Father Rob invited us to join a family conversation.
We're sticking together. We're doing what we have to do to protect your brother. Is there any message that you guys just want to tell people about?
Always try to find ways to stay relaxed and stay calm.
Sleep. Most important one of all, sleep.
Stick with your parents. We stick with our dad, and he's the best dad we could ever have. And if you see him right now, he's blushing.
It's the love and laughter that many parents say is keeping them going.
Boo.
Girlfriend. 10-year-old Mariah Winchell, who has autism and Down syndrome, gave us a tour of her quarantine life at home near Boston.
Do you want to, let's go show your schedule.
Her parents posting a daily schedule to keep learning on track.
Word of the day yesterday was bacteria.
Mom Melissa behind the camera showing us the science experiments growing yeast by the board games. The living room now home to Mariah's cardboard rocket ship and sentence diagrams.
How concerned
are you that her development, her socialization is going to be set back in a big way?
I'm really concerned.
That new normal coming without many of the usual supports, those home health aides, therapists, coaches, teachers, and most of all, routines. Danny DeBott was just beginning to learn how to communicate when the pandemic closed his school.
We are homeschooling a second grader, and we are trying to get Danny's therapies in to the best that we can, but we just cannot replicate what they can do at school.
And you're holding down 2 full-time jobs at the same time.
Yes, yes.
Jeremiah, how are you dealing with this being at home?
I'm good.
You're good? Do you miss your friends?
Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely misses his friends.
Single mother Opal Foster of Southern Maryland worries about the impact of isolation on her son Jeremiah, who has Down syndrome.
There's a lot of things that they're used to in their regular routine that they're not going to be getting. We're working on kind of getting a Zoom or Skype meeting together so that you guys can see each other.
And after losing her job at a printing company last month, Foster now wonders whether they'll stay financially afloat.
We just don't know how long this is going to last. I mean, I would love to say that everything will go back to normal tomorrow and we just snap our fingers and everything will be back just the way that that it was, but it won't.
So we're ending the 3-hour shift here. I'm switching off. Mariah and I wrote a story today.
Melissa Winchell, like so many parents now, toggling between daycare and her day job, a full-time university professor still lecturing, grading papers, and advising hundreds of students, among them Mariah, who's still struggling to understand the loss of normalcy.
The grief almost feels fresh to them every day, almost like they're re-experiencing it all over for the first time. So we're having a lot of, just daily crying.
How have you explained to her what a pandemic is?
I taught her the word coronavirus. She knows the word COVID-19. It's to the point now that she calls it stupid coronavirus. So, when she says, oh, why can't I see therapist so-and-so today? I say, oh, you know why? And she says, oh, stupid coronavirus.
The stress, many parents tell us, can seem unending.
The lack of adult contact is pretty challenging. I love my kids, and if I had to be on lockdown with anybody, it's my kids, so I'm glad I have them. But it does sort of take its toll.
When you get a break?
I don't even know what that word means. I guess I don't think so much about how to get through it. I just know that my kids are relying on me and I have to do whatever I have to do.
I am on the couch for the second time since noontime today because I am just so tired.
Often exhausted, but still resilient.
I guess we're trying to make sense of this, trying to keep a positive attitude. Jeremiah is always a beacon of sunshine as it is anyway.
It may not be pretty and it may not be joyous and it may not be how you want to get through something, but you'll get through it. And there's something on the other side.
Reminding all of us there's light at the end of the tunnel and in those we love.
I think this sense that nothing is permanent, that life's not a given, and that life's so fragile. That's, I think, what disabled families know. And I think that's the wisdom that we're bringing into the experience of quarantine and into COVID.
Life is so fragile indeed. Our thanks to Devin for that look at some remarkable families.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News.
All right. So here, back to what we were doing. Teachers and parents can work together to provide a successful and productive learning environment for our children. So we have interventionists, we have guidance counselors and other therapists that all go together to provide modifications and strategies through the IEP. And the parents, our special needs parents, appreciate a phone call. All parents do, and to ensure that they have support. The objective as a team, we want to design a plan to prevent behaviors from occurring. We want to implement a shared plan between child and parent. And so the result is when they do return to school, they'll be confident and the interventionists will be able to resume their therapies. So When parents need to work, create a workspace and a schedule for learners. Replicate that school time. Siblings who share the workspace. Make a teacher aware of the schedule you have created for sharing, so that if the child tell your parents to make up a schedule so that all of the siblings can share. Lack of supplies. Gather and organize supplies, color code, make cleanup rules, and minimize the distractions from others. It should be a private area, and quiet rules should be established. And I think that way it will help all at home. Our teachers will be instructing students online, so provide modifications. The following slides suggest those kids with learning differences and attention deficits. Just create a balance. Ask parents ahead of time to organize supplies for the project. Always, when I do, I will email the parent or the class and tell them the supplies, give them the list. If at all, provide a black line drawing ahead of time for the parents, and that will really help the child participate, because those are the children you may not find in your Zoom classes. So they need a little bit more attention. Okay, so have frequent opportunities for the students to show progress. If you see them on Zoom, let them know that, see if they want to share, and verbally recognize how well they're doing. Use your voice inflections so that they know there's a change coming, or an audio cue. There are break sessions also. So when I'm teaching, and you are probably too, there are catch-up times. So you might demonstrate something and then let the children work as not all just give them a little bit of time to work. I'm going to show you later on my visual timer. That would be something that you could use on Zoom, and you can also use it in a classroom for someone who is unwilling to continue to work, and you sort of have to give them a time limit. So I'll explain that later. Parents can photograph art and send you the image, and let the kids know you're doing it. All right, Candace Evans, and you can see her information on the bottom. Ways to help special needs children, and this is what we've been talking about: breaking down steps. Use concrete sentences that children understand all the words. You might have to break it into those kind of steps so that, and just every material, every activity that you're going to do is going to require a thought process beforehand. So these are things you would do prior to the lesson. Some are auditory learners and some are not. So you might want to both put it in print, first then next type of chart, or you might want to say them verbally. And ask the children if they want to repeat. And these are things, like I said, these are things that you want to share with your parents. This is not obvious to parents, it's more obvious to us, unless the parent is a teacher. So do not just give steps at a time. Don't give further instructions until students completed the previous task. And it's a difficult thing to do when you have lots of learners in the room, and some of them are ready to go and some of them are not. But use those other strategies, written and non-written, to help out that situation. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, provide praise. Yep. Okay. Be consistent and use rewards, extrinsic and extrinsic awards, little stickers and things like that. A lot of the children are used to that. That's very important. Let them know when they have demonstrated the behavior that you're looking for. Don't let anything to chance. Okay, sensory issues. I did not realize how important the climate of the classroom was until I discovered what sensory issues can mean to a special learner because of the distraction component. They all learn, and so everyone learns in a different way. They might excel in your class, but maybe not in math or in reading. So you figure out figure out strategies that keep them focused. And this goes back to sensory. Create opportunities for tactile experiences. You might need to use physical cues like a light touch when a student's distracted, hand on the shoulder, or something along those lines. Get creative with your lessons. And I also mentioned cozy shades. I think that you have to factor in the type of chair, the little breaks, who they're sitting with. And at home, this like I said, the environment at home is not so much different. Children on the autism spectrum, they are coping with disruptions when they have to get to school. Make sure everybody's on board with what this is more for when you're in school, and I'm sure you see all of this. The routine should also consider other demands on caregivers and parents and siblings and family members and self-care. It's all about balance. You can use a visual schedule to support children with communication needs. How do you create a visual schedule? Okay, who decide? All right, I have found that a visual schedule can be used as a parent. It can be used in a classroom for you when you want to do different activities. You're drawing, you're painting, you're doing clay work. And so this is front loaded, but you can reuse them. Who are these learners going to be? Who's going to use it? So divide the day into segments. This is a schedule that you would use at home: math time, snack time, art lesson, and so on. Choose a visual system based on your child's representation. Not every child is going to know how to read a word that you put down there. So make it so that it's very relative to them. Clip art is great because the lines are simple. And you want to bring in the whole team, the therapist and the reading specialist, the auditory specialist, everyone that knows what that child will respond to. So that's before you create. And then think about how and who will use the schedule. Small one for a learner, wall size for the family. And let's see what else that might be. Okay, so walk through the schedule with the learner, teach them how to use it, limit the items to 3. So it's maybe, morning, snack, reading work, art class. Make it portable so that you can go outside. The link for that, or the credit for this slide, is Nothbaum, who has written a lot of books on autism and the autism spectrum. Here are some of the simple images that you can incorporate in a visual schedule. These are things that every child would could recognize. It's time, I think it depends on your class. And these can be used, I would say, not just for the little ones. Just make it simple. All right, this is what a visual schedule might look like. First, next, then. You can see that. And like I said, this will be all available to you, so you'll be able to make your own. I also advise you to get for your class, and also, I guess at home you could do it too. It's there's slips, they're plastic slips that you can keep them nice and clean. And if you have to change or if to erase something or put a name on it, you can just use expo markers. And so, yeah, once you make all those visual schedules, you don't want to have them get messed up. So, okay, this is the visual timer. It's great in every way for transitioning. They are especially good for autism spectrum. They help children stay on task. That helps children tolerate unpreferred activities. Sort of, if you work for 15 minutes and the timer goes off, you get 5 minutes of drawing whatever you want. And I seriously have used it in that way so many times. And I think this would be advantageous to a parent at home right now. It's great for timeouts, and it promotes independence. I mean, you can do it in so many different ways, but Amazon is a good place. There are other places also that have them for a little bit of money. And then you have a link if you want to know more. This I think is a bit redundant. It just tells you how a typical day could be structured. Take a break, build in time for physical activity. Make sure when the phys ed teacher comes on, let them participate. So this is all together. I'm sure you know the benefits of it all. Okay, so autism and sensory issues. In 2013, the American Psychiatric Association added sensory sensitivities to the symptoms that help diagnose autism. So the child can be hypersensitive or hyposensitive, and you can see what it involves. So this can interrupt their learning. To the point where they're done for the day and they have to leave. Or, you know, at home, a parent perhaps might want to know more about this, but our parents of special needs children are rock stars. They know so much about so many things, and whatever we can do to help them is even better. Okay, so there is one little video that is embedded in here. It's from 2 students at the Ringling College of Art and Design, and it simulates a sensory overload experienced by people that are affected by autism. And when the video is sponsored by Autism Speaks. So let me see if I can get to it. Yeah. Okay, let me go down. There it is, yeah, okay, go.
Thank you so much for coming. We've had a really rough week. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Hi, sweetie. How are you today? Today we're gonna play a game. Kind of like the games that we played at school. Look what I got you. I know how much you like animals. Do you see this? This is a cat. How does a cat sound? Meow, meow. And look at this card, Lovey. This is a dog. How does a dog go? Woof, woof. Can you try to match these cards for me, please?
No, what dogs?
Hello? This is her. Yes? I'm really sorry. What? What do you mean she can't return? Where else are we supposed to go?
I don't know. It's too loud.
Stay with me. Let's look at this new set of cards.
Too loud. Just be quiet.
Match them for me. It's okay. Mommy, this is okay. Look what I have for you. Look at this. I know how much you like this.
Shut it up.
Trying to get out of this. Boy, let's see, where do I go? Trying to get rid of this. Every time I go up here, I can't get rid of it.
If you don't need that tab anymore, you should just be able to close it.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I was like the bar went across the top. It was making me nervous. Okay. All right. So that is worth sharing because no one can understand. And once the child is that far, it's difficult to bring them back. And so you need other things. So these are you'll see the list of modifications that you can use to help prevent some of those things happening. A sensory area in an art room or a home room could be a table, a corner. It will help calm and begin to fade. It's a timeout. Sometimes it's just learning. And this is for anyone with focus and anxiety issues, whether in school or at home. So think about the portable things that might be great for these children that they might like to touch and look at and experience. And interventions and therapists can help you with that. Some of the children might have headphones. And like I said, the parents probably are well equipped already. Here is an example of a visual schedule. Good behavior in art. This is what it looks like. I think I created this for a class. Yes. Okay, the first next then board, what is it? It's helpful in teaching children with ASD and others to follow directions and learn new skills. It motivates them to do activities that they do not like, clarifies what they can do, they can do what they like, when they can do what they like, and lays the foundation needed to complete multi-step directions and activities for more complex visual systems. This means that this helps them to become more independent. These are just examples of first then next. It goes across horizontally. First, we're going to read, then we're going to put our book away, and then you'll get to go outside. Second row would be we're going to color and draw, and then we're going to cut what we colored and drew on, and then we're going to glue. Hopefully the pictures, they can go on their own as needed. That was just one that I made up. Visual direction step by step is another way to do it. And this can be made up this can be made up at home. And maybe have an older child help set these up for the parents. And of course you can do those by using all of your technology at school. This is a sensory bottle that I made out of one of those beautiful water bottles, a Voss bottle. It contains water, oil, glitter, and food coloring, and I made it around Halloween. And it was fascination to all my students to the point where I had to actually be very selective when I put it out. At times I used it as a reward for on-task behavior, and other times it served to provide for one of my ASD students sensory stimulation. If making one, use a waterproof glue for the seal. So and the handout was, well, if they needed a timeout, they could work with it. One has oil, one has sand. They both have things inside that kids like. The rice Halloween treasure, when they found something, they circled it on the paper. And that by the time they were done doing that, a lot of times they were ready to return to art class. These are 75 non-food sensory bin fillers. So this is my sensory bin with sand. And this was a scavenger. It was a dinosaur dig. They were being archaeologists. And it was great for the kids to get their hands in there and dig and find things and then just cover it over and someone else could do it. And it was a popular thing, popular activity in my sensory corner for kids that even just needed a bit of motivation to work just a bit longer and to have a 5-minute reward. Collage tactile boards. This was great for one of my students who had dexterity problems, because that is a framed piece of contact paper, so it's sticky on the upside. And she was able to create collages, and her mother was so excited when she brought them home, because she knew that Ashley had done it and there was no intervention. All she had to do was stick things on there, and she enjoyed touching all of those things that went on there, and she needed to have that she needed the tactile experience. The same child, marble painting. This young lady was hyposensitive, and she had difficulty with one hand and not the other. And when we did the marble painting, by putting paper in there, marbles coated with paint, snapped the lid on, and we helped her shake it, she was alive. She was excited, and she did it. She would actually, on her trips walking down the hall, would know that that activity was in the art room, and she would just walk in and look for that's how it just had such an effect on her, and it was so successful. I suggest it for all children, no matter what. At-home supply choice board. Okay, if you have Velcro attached to each of the pictures, after explaining the lesson to the child, have them complete a visual sentence. For this art, even if you can't do that at home, just use masking tape. So what did the teacher ask for us to have today? A pencil, a pair of scissors, a ruler. Stick those on the board, and then go find them and be ready when Zoom starts. So that was, and then this would be, say, picture communication for procedures while in the art room and home use. It is a nice, not a bad thing to have going on at home for your child as well. Same way, make up the board. And pictures can be any type. You can draw the pictures, use free clip art. Okay, next 2 slides show images of 9 activities that I created on a choice board for special needs. If you want to create a choice board on Google Documents with bookmarks and links, it's easy to access the activities. On this slideshow, I did not do that. So these are the 9 activities. You can see what they are: shaving cream, marbling, contact paper, all of these things are on the next. These are the explanations. So on my original one, I would, I'll go back. I pressed on the title, the bookmark came up, and it took me to the directions. So there are the directions. I have been putting these on my choice boards as I'm going through the school year, the rest of the school year, and kids are sending me things that they've done. They enjoy, they're liking these. Okay, social stories. Michigan teacher Carol Gray pioneered in 1900 the idea of using a story format to teach social skills. She created a specific formula for writing the stories. Carol Gray believed that a social story provided accurate information and meaningful to a child in a reassuring tone. Eventually formed the Gray Center for Social Learning and Understanding. I have seen paraprofessionals sitting in the classroom creating social stories. Every situation can be, every behavior can be addressed with one of these if done correctly, and it can change behaviors. So this is a very handy tool for parents to have. The range of topics are limitless, and you can see what they are. If you if you get the print of this, you will have that. You can also go to carolgraysocialstories.com and get that, and then keep those on file. It might be a great thing also to keep in one of those plastic sleeves. Okay, now I want to tell you my story, my students, and my support team, because everything I do is about those kids. I want to be the best art teacher for them. I was hired 18 years ago in this lovely rural school district. In the early years, I questioned whether it was a good fit for me. I came from another state and it was a very, very unique, that was extreme opposite of where I am right now. I asked my principal, James Orchowski, what stood out in my interview and why he thought I was a good fit. And he said that he was a parent and could sense that I understood what he needed to be done. Frankly, I'm a parent of a special needs child and I understand. And I always planned for my students' success and our students' success. So without our interventionists, our paraprofessionals, teachers, we have no plan for success. So I want to introduce you to a few people and what they have said. Like I said, Jamie Smith, she is the autistic and behavioral interventionist. I thought what stood out in her when I asked her, what would you advise parents, was this interspersed easy, hard, 80-20 tasks, 80 easy, 20 difficult, so that the child is challenged. And be demonstrative with your rewards. Okay, Catherine Hoover. She has been there for me in so many ways, middle elementary interventionist. She is the one that introduced me to the first, then next. If you do this, then you can do that. Give directions, please follow it. So Catherine is vital to our team. Sarah Hamilton, I've been on Zooms with her. All of her special needs students are on there and their stories are great. She believes in small breaks and chunks and written schedules. Everything that I was very happy that once I created I created the PowerPoint, and then I asked my team to answer that question. What would be the one piece of advice they would give parents and art teachers? And I was so excited I did not edit anything. That's what they came up with. So we're right on line with what we believe, what is good. So Allison Fleming, BEA Learning Support. It's too long to read. But what they are going to need your help, and we are all going to get through this. Keep the communication open and call parents. You should have parents all week of special needs kids that you're calling, hopefully. Autumn Hannerhan, guidance counselor to struggling parents. This is hard, be kind to yourself. It's great, yeah. Okay, thank you. The teaching is a reward. Along with this, lesson planning and certification requirements is essential to have a heart. I have taught many levels in several states, and what has maintained my drive is know who you are teaching by creating conversations with specialists, teachers, and parents. Listen and react with a plan when enough information is presented. Familiarize yourself with IEPs, 504s, health records. Create an atmosphere of flexibility in the art room. Be willing to go that extra mile to resolve a situation, even if you're after hours. Advocate for the arts, because for some children, it's the only reason they come to school. Thank you. Resources, you've got them. And I am through all the slides, all 56 of them. So let me go out of this and see what we have. Okay. Thank you.
Wow, that was a lot of great information.
Thank you.
We now have time for questions, so you may use the chat roll to type in any questions or comments you may have for our presenter. You may also ask a question live by stating in the chat roll that you would like to ask a question. The presenter will call on you. You may then unmute yourself and ask the question. It is your choice to leave your video off or turn it on at this time. We are leaving that up to you to decide on your level of privacy, how muted or seen you are comfortable with, as the recording will be housed on the PAEA website.
Oh, hi. Any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Am I on here?
Julia, you still have your chat set to private, so only I got that. So you might want to switch that to everyone. But yes, Julia does have a question for you, but you can just say it live if you would like.
That's what I want. So can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can. Yes, of course.
All right. One thing, I'm sorry I came in about 15 minutes late, but one thing that was very impressive that I liked and I was hoping to get from tonight was the non-technical things. So I've run into several situations where people have said, oh, I can't do that. I'm not going to take part in this because we don't have, the internet is really bad at home. And I'm really happy that you brought that stuff up, the stuff that was you don't have to go online to do this stuff. You can do it around the house. I can email you, I can call you. I just say thank you so much. It doesn't all have to be.
No, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because from the perspective, just listening to my team and my parents and what our weekly meetings are about is that no matter how you have to do it, communicate, because that is that Venn diagram and the communication. It's, thank you. Robin Grants, I think you're going to love trying some of these things because we have time now. What's great is that you can start to create things, and then when we finally get into a classroom, you're going to be able to, you'll have them and you won't have to worry, you'll just pull from them.
Yeah, that's why I came tonight to listen, because like you said in the beginning, you know, I have all this time right now, and so now I'm diving into all these webinars that are available and trying to just get some ideas for ways, I can make the art better. So it's great.
The autismspeaks.org is, there are so many links to take you to activities, even if this isn't about the ASD students and it's about just any special needs. There are so many things on that website that you can, that's how I learned the visual timer. Like I said before, oh, I have my visual timer right here. I have it in front of me right here.
Ah.
Yeah, and I'll show you. If I go like this.
Ah, that's
and
how
that's
that
it.
works. That's neat to see it actually working. So I had never heard of one of those before.
It's pretty piercing, but in a classroom, it's a little bit less because there's other background noise. I got mine on Amazon, but I think you can get them other places.
Okay, thank you.
So there's a question says, what do you suggest when your administrators don't want you to contact the parents directly? You have to depend on teachers to share what you're doing. That's what I would do. I would, or contact your interventionists and maybe let them do the footwork on the conversations. I mean, the calls or the emails. Sometimes they're private about these things, and they don't like, why is this art teacher calling me? Although because they don't understand how we're all teamed up and related. So I think that you could go through the classroom teacher or the interventionist, the guidance counselor, if your administrator doesn't want you to do that. So that would be what I would say. Oh, it was a nice contrast to the videos I see share. Right, I think that I talked to a secretary at our school, And we care so much about these children. And, you know, she was encouraging, she said, you know, these students are going to come out well-fed, secure, and they may not be as far behind as you think they're going to be, because we're working together to keep them at level. I mean, for most. So yeah, distant education is, you know, it can work for you. Yeah. What did you think of that, the videos? I thought that I had to show you that first one, because I thought, what a non-example. I felt like there's probably parents like that at the beginning, thinking, how does this whole thing work? And then the video at the end was so touching, or the second video was very touching, and how much love there, you couldn't paint a heart big enough. That's how much love was in that house.
I liked the video that explained what the hypersensitivity is, because I had never really watched a video that explained, you know, or seen something like that really made it really so easy for me to understand what that is.
Yeah, it's as if there are no filters at all, and you can imagine with all of, first of all, that therapist was, I don't know if it was a parent or, I guess it was a therapist, but there should not have been a phone in there, and the fan was going, and so I think if that is a true therapist, should rethink her therapy room, because that was just yeah, too much. Yeah. And yeah, it was amazing. I'm going to contact those Ringling, you know, try to write to them and thank them for it's such an effective thing, because it's difficult to find online explanations. I have found, I've been sitting and trying.
Yeah,
So.
I could just have, just from that quickly watching it, I was able to just have such quick understanding and such a like immediate empathy for a child.
Yeah. So you can imagine if you took all of that and then you subtracted all of those things that were brought up and created a better personal space for that child, you might have a chance of getting them back. The sensory room, the sensory activities, all of those things. Yes, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, the video made me, oh, right. It made me anxious. Yeah. I mean, I even know, I feel that my own son with a learning disability, you know, reading and processing, so many of these things were so helpful when he was younger. And when you can block out, because there are all these extraneous auditory things going along around, I don't know how you can focus. So I hope you do use them. Yeah, so let's see, any more questions? Yeah. Andrea Klein, yeah. I haven't been getting much participation from my special needs students. They're struggling to get through homeroom, and I do agree with that. So one of the things that I've noticed that at the beginning of this event, the Zoom meetings were quite long, and now they're very short, and they're half an hour. And I had a Zoom meeting with a group with a group of special needs kids. What they said to me is, "Are we done yet? Because I'm hungry." You know, it's just like, put it out there. They're hungry, and you know, they were done with art in 20 minutes. And you know, if you could even tell the teacher that you're going to put a time limit, and it's like 15 minutes, and maybe it'll just be the start. They don't have to finish it. So if it's a drawing or something that you're doing, that might give the parents a time that, you know, and yeah, so
yeah, that was me. We don't have meetings with the, I'm thinking of the life skills. There's 2 life skills classes specifically. We don't have meetings, and really the specialist teachers don't have meetings with the kids. Like, we have office hours, and
yeah,
on Tuesdays is art day, and then I offer live sessions on art day. And then
are you K to 5? You have the little guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did get from the head of our special ed department. I received an email from about the 2 children that one is hypersensitive and one is hyposensitive, and she wanted me to know that they were working on things. Mom and dad were photographing, and they were handing things in. And I think that that's all you can do. You know, you can give them the information or the activity, and just, you know, maybe defer to your interventionist or whoever is their main contact person. Because like I said, it's so loaded. They don't have, they're so busy and just so engaged to keep the kids busy that they don't really have, you know, it's everything they have to get through homeroom. Yeah, you're right. My co-representative Sue is working on her a dissertation on collections, and I was inspired with my students to do, she referred a book to me on collections, and I think that might actually be something that, if possible, you could introduce to a classroom teacher who might be able to have the kids go and on a nature walk, go outside, collect things, and then have them talk about why we collect. And that might be maybe something that is not sitting down and writing a story or drawing a picture or painting. It's collecting and then assembling, and they might like that tactile. So taking into the account the hyper and the hyposensitivity and the hands-on experiences and the step-by-step, going out and collecting things. Step 1, collect. Step 2, look at what you have, and you know that. So I thank Sue for the inspiration, and we are going to be doing something with that this week. So possibly, and Sue would be a good one to give you some maybe some books for children that you might be able to refer to on collections. She has quite a library. Okay, I see Erin says, I know my high school life skills students are overwhelmed. I'm offering a mix of art options that are fun, calming, and in some cases silly. Oh, wow, that's great. You're Zooming with them on Thursday. So yeah, that's it. When you can contact them during this time, I just love when I see them coming into the meetings. Yeah. I think I've got everybody so far. Any more questions? The cozy light covers, they are around, you get a set for, I think it's under $50 most places, and it's really remarkable what it will do to a room. Yeah, a classroom with fluorescent lights. It's just so calming. Our preschoolers have that, and it's very nice. Let's see, did I get with everybody? Yeah. I think that a lot of this information can be used at many levels. So you have to just trial and error it. And so, thanks. Okay. Yeah, there. Yep.
Okay. Any more questions? Looks like we have just another minute or two here.
You're welcome.
Yes, that was a lot of really relevant information and so much to think about and so many new things to try. I mean, even as a high school teacher that I am, there's so many things that I can use with some of my special needs students. So it was lots of wonderful information.
Well, I had to package it. It was in my head, but and that was important to me. That was my goal for tonight, to package it and push it out and give it to others.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I think all of that was relevant to K through 12. So I think it was fantastic.
Great, great.
All right. Well, there aren't any. Oh, there's a question about sharing the slides with us.
Okay. And I think you can answer that, Jill.
Will you be sharing the PowerPoint?
Yes, that'll be fine. So when you do you submit your for Act 48, that will be available to you.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll get in touch with that, and I have everybody's email addresses, so we can definitely send that out over the next few days. We work that out. Great.
All right.
All right. Well, we really hope everyone enjoyed their time with us tonight. Please make sure that you have signed in on the chat roll to verify your participation in tonight's webinar, especially if your name on your Zoom screen is not the same name that you actually want credit with. So make sure you put your name in there so I know who you are and that you did participate. June's webinar will be announced soon, but remember the registration links for all PAEA sponsored events are also available on the PAEA website calendar, the PAEA Facebook pages, and most likely through email from me, PAEA's Director of Programming, or your division or region reps. So remember to check your email in the next day or two for the Act 48 link, as well as Jan's slides that she's so wonderfully willing to share with us. And unless anybody else has anything else, I think that is a wrap. And looks like there's a few more names coming through on there. Thank you. We'll make sure everybody gets credit and gets the link. I think the only one I wasn't sure on was the one that said Kevin, because I did not see a Kevin on our sign up list. So if you are the person showing with Kevin, please put your name in the chat then so I know who to send that link to.
Thank you, everybody. It was great answering. I hope I gave you the information that maybe you can go forward and use until we get back into our classrooms.
Yes, wonderful.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I don't see anything else coming into the chat room. So at this point, we will just say good night to everybody and thank you so much. Everybody have a good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.